Welcome to Sunset News on Thursday, the 16th of March. In this half hour, we bring you the latest local and international news, our story of the day, economic updates and indicators, as well as tomorrow's weather and sport. I am Ashwin Berry. In the news tonight, members of the public were not allowed to attend Parliament for the State of the Nation address by President Hage Geingob today at 2:30 in the afternoon. Instead, they were advised to follow the proceedings from home on the parliamentary social media platforms. Now, during the eventful SONA, political opposition confronted President Hage Geingob about corruption in the country, staging a silent protest during the State of the Nation address this afternoon in the National Assembly. President Geingob concluded his address saying that the foundations Namibia has put in place over the past years have set the country on a path towards future success. Through thick and thin, we have stood firm as a people and as a country, he said. Reacting to the SONA delivered by President Geingob, LPM leader Bernarda Swartboy commended President Geingob for efforts on green hydrogen as UDF president urged President Geingob to introduce one plot per person policy to address the housing crisis. Activist Michael Amshelelo says the planned protest against unemployment slated for Independence Day on Tuesday will go ahead with or without the permission of the police. The police have not yet responded to their application for a peaceful protest in light of the staggering youth unemployment. The latest example was over 1,000 applicants who stormed a local establishment with the hopes of being recruited for 8 available jobs. Jemima Birkus reports.
So we don't want any funny stories coming from your side. The only thing that we want is you must be present to make sure that law and order is abided at all times, because we know for a fact that there are those who are going to come with ill intentions of obviously wanting to loot and do whatever. So you must make sure that you deal with those elements who want to be looting. But other than that, we want to caution you never to choose any political side. You must remain neutral at all times. And that is what we expect from our police. And our police must never be used as a tool in order for them to try and intimidate civil societies, political organizations, or activists or anything of that sort. We want you to remain neutral. We are not breaking any law. We are simply saying that we do not want to celebrate a mockery of an independence. We want to, when we have to one day celebrate independence, is because we are now economically liberated. We have jobs, we have decent houses, we go to decent hospitals, we go to decent schools. We are now living like Namibians, and we are also living like human beings. Not these things of 33 years later, we still have people drinking dirty water. We still have people who are eating from dump sites. This is not the independence that we were promised. We were promised prosperity in 1990 by Sam Nujoma, but you guys, along with Sam Nujoma, failed to deliver that prosperity. And that is why we are taking it upon ourselves to force you to maybe bring about this prosperity, because clearly force is the only language maybe you guys understand. Because Namibians have been complaining for the last 33 years, but those complaints seems to be they only fall on deaf ears. And that is why on the 21st of March, we are going to come out in large numbers so that you can no longer ignore the plight of the Namibian citizens who continue to suffer on a daily basis, while a few individuals live like kings and queens, called honorables and his excellencies, your warships and all.
In our next story, Martha Murorua, the managing director of Nedbank Namibia, says it has become a priority for Nedbank Namibia to incorporate several client engagement sessions into its roadshow program that targets both the private and public sectors. She made the statement at Nedbank Namibia's annual economic and budget presentation and panel discussion at the Swakopmund Hotel and Entertainment Center, which was part of the institution's annual leadership roadshow. Nikano Nangolo reports.
Appreciation to all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us this morning. My team and I are at the coast as part of our annual leadership roadshow, where members of our executive committee visit all the branches across Namibia to engage with our employees so that we are aligned on the Nedbank Namibia strategy. It has become our intent to also add number of client engagements to our roadshow program, which bears testimony to the immense importance that our clients will always remain as we embark on the journey to reach all our strategic goals. Our clients are the reason we do business, and without you, we will not be able to make impact we have or we wish to have in our society. We will shortly hear about the views of some of our country's foremost financial experts regarding Honorable Minister Ikumbusumi's budget statement for the 2023-2024 financial year. But I thought I will make a reference to the truthfulness of his opening remarks, particularly as he recounted the small world that we all live in his recollection of the discussions with Hernandez. And last week I attended the budget presentation that was hosted, and Honorable Simi was present in the audience. And he actually said, we all are busy, but he will appreciate if people have read his statement. And I want to state that he made a very bold statement in terms of Tadenande, and I will come to it, how I juxtapose, what Tadenande has done in Tadesimi's life and the resemblance that we want to create now. So I remember the public discussion that Nedbank Namibia hosted a few years ago with the futurist Craig Wing, and how he mentioned just how small this global village we all live in has become. In what he termed the 6 degrees of separation. The basic premise of this theory is that it doesn't matter where you live in the world, you only have to follow the trails through 6 interconnected persons to meet any person that you can think of.
In the last of our top stories, head of the Ministry of Labour for the Northeastern regions, Santos Kabwata, says the labour unrest in Rundu is to be blamed on fake politicians and community activists who are eager to score cheap political points ahead of the 2024 elections. Kenya Kamboe reports.
Politicians who are supposed to be legally permitted to deal with labour matters. I'll talk about that later on. Unprotected strikes caused by fake politicians and disguised family members is a concern in this area and somewhere else. Now we also have fake community activists operating under the skin of political parties. And that's a fact. You cannot run away from that, it's happening. So the governor spoke about it. Your observation is 100% correct, and I'm happy that you raised that. It's really causing us a problem here. Jointly as a region, if we do not do something on this, I can tell you, I can guarantee you, labor unrest will not stop here. And I am not afraid to say this. We know very well, as much as we do not want to talk about it, keep me on record. The reason why you see fake politicians and disguised family members and also fake community activists involving themselves in labor matters, it is simply because of 2024. Nothing else. It is simply because of the bigger project coming 2024. People are so confused. And I am not afraid to talk about this. Simply because if the fake ones are also here, I will hear from your comments after my presentation, then you are one of them. If you're not fake, then you better accept that, because you're not one of them. The reason why they are faking their political activity is simply because they have realized that organizing public rallies will not work for them. Going house to house mobilization will not work for them. Now the only best way to do it is to confuse the working population, employees. Go to employees, confuse them, disturb them, for them to think it's only...
Leon Tsamkau says government and the rest of the Namibian nation treat the San people with contempt. More on this in Story of the Day after the break.
AgriMonitor is jou weeklikse landboukundige program wat jou die jongste nuus in die landbouverwante bedryf en onderwerpe wat daaraan gekoppel is bring. Vir enige advertensie of nuusverwante navraag, Kontak agrimonitor@synergy.com.na.
Leon Tsamkau says government and the rest of the Namibian nation treats the San people with contempt. His father is the chief and a revered elder in the community and is part of the management committee of the Nyanyang Conservancy and Community Forum. Jemima Birkus reports.
My name is Leon Tsamkau and I'm from Nanai. Now, I just have a few concerns about what is currently happening in Tsumku, where I come from, especially at the school. We have so many learners, some learners, and when you go to that, you will find like grade 7 learners that cannot read and write, and that is not a problem for the teachers. The teachers never consult the parents to find out what is the problem with these kids. They cannot read and write. Do these kids has a problem? But if you go to other places like, outside Tsumkwe, the schools are consulting parents to find out the problems that the children are having and so on. And at the other hand, the children the teachers in Tsumkwe are drinking in front of their learners, which I think it's very wrong. Smoking, sending the kids to go buy them the alcohol or smokes, and they are also drinking with the children. Let's go to Tsumkwe by Friday afternoon. Just go to the Shabins and see who is those people at the Shabins. It's the teachers with the learners. So I don't know how this is going to help the San community. And also, when you go to places outside other places in Namibia, when you look at the councillors, they are actually from that tribe. But when you come to Tsumkwe constituency, the councillors are not from the San tribe, it's from the other tribes. So this is also a problem. It's kind of like we employ people that don't understand they don't understand the problems that the San is having. Those are the people, they only know about their problems, where they come from. So what does it mean to have a councillor who is not the tribe where he is currently staying, like having a councillor staying in Tsumkwe, but he's not a San? How will he understand the problems that the San communities are having? It's the same apply to the teachers. They don't speak San, they only speak their mother languages, but they are teaching the San. Just imagine if you come as a grade 1, what will you understand? Nothing. This is also a big problem, and I really don't know. We have a big problem in Tsumkwe. So maybe France can. I don't know what to do.
Sentiments we all ought to heed. Now, the petrol price in South Africa could be hiked in the first week of April. More on this development in economic news after the break.
In Business 7, you get news on current economic, financial, and business matters in Namibia. The weekly show features interviews with experts and in-depth analysis of burning issues in a way that caters for ordinary Namibians and business connoisseurs alike. For news-related or advertising queries, please contact B7 at synergy.com.na.
We start out our economic news in South Africa, then we head over to Russia. The petrol price in South Africa could be hiked in the first week of April, but diesel and illuminating paraffin may become cheaper. The latest data from the Central Energy Fund shows petrol may be increased by around 25 cents a litre, while the wholesale price of diesel could be lowered by around 20 cents a litre. Illuminating paraffin could see a cut of around 68 cents a litre. During January 2023, Namibia sourced most of its imports from South Africa. President Vladimir Putin on Thursday called on Russia's billionaires and business elite to invest in new technology, production facilities, and enterprises to help Russia overcome what he said were Western attempts to destroy its economy. Putin said Russia had so far defied those Western attempts and that Western firms that had decided to stay in Russia rather than flee in a corporate exodus last year had made a smart decision. Let's have a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar is down next to all these major currencies, trading at 22.22 next to the British pound, and 18.40 Namibian dollars gets you $1 US. All commodities are on a downturn, with gold on 0.10%, copper making a dip of 3.72%, and zinc down 1.50%, whilst Brent crude oil also makes a dip, but of 1.59%. Now, looking at international news, tonight we zone in on the latest developments in the UK and US. Stay with us.
Take a load off and tune into another episode of Brave Namibia as we take a look at both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. Brave Namibia is broadcasted on NTV Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and OneUpTwo.com, as well as broadcasted on the following Facebook platforms on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Republican, Allgemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and all Namibia Media Holdings pages. For more information, contact the Brave team at brave@synergy.com.na. Brave Namibia, for the ordinary and extraordinary Namibians.
Heading into international news, British Minister Oliver Dowden said on Thursday the government would ban the use of TikTok on government devices, saying there was a risk about how sensitive data could be used on certain platforms. We are moving to a system where government devices will only be able to access third-party apps that are on pre-approved lists, Dowden told lawmakers. We are also going to ban the use of TikTok on government devices. We will do so with immediate effect, he said. The Atlanta grand jury that probed ex-American President Donald Trump's 2020 election meddling heard a taped telephone call he placed to Georgia's Republican House leader seeking to reverse Democrat Joe Biden's victory in that swing state, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported on Wednesday. The existence of such a recording, or that it was played for the 23-member special grand jury during the course of its 8-month investigation, has not been previously reported. Then Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, since deceased, told local media in December 2020 that Trump had called him the day before asking him to convene a special session of the state legislature to overturn the presidential election results in Georgia. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution said it learned that a recording of the Trump-Ralston call existed from the newspaper's own recent exclusive interview of 5 of the grand jurors who said they had heard it. The newspaper quoted one of the panelists it interviewed as saying Ralston basically cuts the president off without making any specific promises, telling Trump, "I will do everything in my power that I think is appropriate." He just basically took the wind off the sails, the juror told the newspaper, recounting that Trump then thanked Ralston, which at that point was all he could say. Let's have a look at the weather predictions shortly. The capital is partly cloudy with a maximum of 32 degrees, whilst Oshakati and Ruakana both share maximums of 36 degrees, and Katima Mulilo has an 18-degree minimum and partly cloudy conditions. Partly cloudy conditions prevail across the board except for Ranyamund, where it's just cloudy with a minimum of 17 degrees. Much colder in Rehoboth with a minimum of 13 degrees, while Kitmanshoop is the hottest in the country with a 37-degree maximum. Now, the Tafolaga Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin has announced his 25-man squad for the AFCON qualifiers. More on that in sports news after the break.
Yo, Joe, what's up, man? Good. Congratulations on your new promotions, man. Give these men a drink.
Coming right up. Hi, Joe.
Please drive sober. I didn't.
Please walk responsibly. I did not. Ma'am?
Let's head into the latest sports stories on Sunset News. The Tafolaga Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin has announced his 25-man squad for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers clash against Cameroon next week. The team will depart to South Africa on Sunday, the 18th of March, where they will be joined by the foreign-based players. They will play Cameroon in the first leg on the 24th and play the return leg on the 28th in Johannesburg at the Dobbinsville Stadium. The full squad is Lloyd Kathapwa, Edward Maova, Kamajanda Ndisiro, Ryan Nyambe, Ivan Kamberipa, Kennedy Amutenya, Charles Hambira, Rian Hanamob, Ananias Herbert, Denzo Howaseb, Brandon Nabeb, Dinamo Fredericks, Devin Somseb, Ngero Katua, Maso Papama, Prince Shiwetha, Edma Kamatuka, Absalom Imbodi, Jocelyn Kamatuka, Dion Hoto, Wendell Rudath, Petrus Jr., Peter Shalolile, Bethuel Mudeu, Elmo Kambindu. Namibia's sprint queen Christina Boma's camp says they are happy with the progress she has made. Currently, her first official race will be at the Kip Keino Classic event in Nairobi, Kenya, the group said. Boma's races in Kenya are slated for the 13th of May. This will be followed by races in the Diamond League events, with a focus on the World Athletics Championships in August. The athlete is currently busy training and making new partnerships. Popkevitz Motors are about to unveil a vehicle handover to the star tomorrow. At the age of 18, she won a silver medal at the 200 meters at 2020 Tokyo Olympics, becoming the first ever Namibian woman to win a women's Olympic medal and breaking the world under-20 and African senior record. Boma also won the event at the 2021 World Under-20 Championships and Diamond League final, improving her record mark to 21.78 seconds. And federations and bodies that fail to submit their categorization documents in time are likely to lose their places as categorized sport codes. The classification process, which began on the 7th of February, has seen the Namibia Sports Commission request information from federations that could help the Commission rate the standards of federations and different sport codes. There are 56 registered sport codes in the country, and 76% of them have already submitted all the required paperwork. NSC Chief Administrator Freddie Muya lauded those who have submitted the forms, but said others have failed to do so. There is no way you can expect to stay where you are if you do not meet the requirements, we are warned. We'll be heading into the highlights from this evening's broadcast shortly.
Please, put on your safety belt, sir. It's very important for your life.
The seatbelt doesn't make me drive comfortably. Yes, that's better. Please wear your seatbelt. I did not.
Let's head into the highlights from this evening's broadcast. During the eventful State of the Nation address by President Hage Geingob today, the political opposition staged a silent protest this afternoon in the National Assembly. President Geingob concluded his address saying that the foundations Namibia has put in place over the past years has set the country on a path towards future success. Through thick and thin, we have stood firm as a people and as a country, he said. Activist Michael Amshelelo says the planned protest against unemployment slated for Independence Day on Tuesday will go ahead with or without the permission of police. The police have not yet responded to their application for a peaceful protest in light of the staggering youth unemployment. And the Tafellaga Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin has announced his 25-man squad for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers clash against Cameroon next week. The team will depart to South Africa on Sunday the 18th of March, where they will be joined by foreign-based players. They will play Cameroon in the first leg on the 24th of March and the fourth return leg on the 28th of March in Johannesburg. With that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook on all NMH platforms, as well as on our website, OneUpTwo.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV 205, GoTV channel 94 every weekday and Sundays from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. I am Ashwin Berry. This has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.